Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai. there are any questions or reports, I'm open.
It's a secret. How do we get it?
I'm telling you. Since the start of Satsang.
There's an idea or a position of identity that is now becoming quite visible. It keeps recurring, and I'd like in sort of seeing it more clearly because I seem to be running away from it, and an intellectual process takes over. The idea includes things like basic separation, but literally some not being included or accepted or not seen, or when I looked into it today while we were sitting quietly, was one part of it was formed from things I've heard people describe of me or my perception of what they think they see as this one. And I see I literally believed that and I was suffering from that day. I became lighter, I was fine now, but it doesn't seem to alleviate this doubt that it's not gone. What is an idea? I'm not sure where to begin.
Yes.
No.
Okay, you have begun already is that I have a particular affliction, is it?
Yes.
And that need to be resolved. And till that is resolved, it is blocking me, is it? But the idea of block only means that the truth is, so something can block you if the truth is there. For example, is the truth that you're after. And if the truth is there, then something can come and say, okay, this is a block because it stops me from getting there. You see? So, what if you just had to get where you already are, then what can block you?
Nothing can, but
Yeah.
as you said that there was the feeling of resistance coming in.
Yeah.
But no, the feeling is still there. See, I'm feeling it. Are you feeling it? So I see. I have to believe in it, and for it to be apparent.
Is it? Now, the arising of the feeling, is it? Whatever resistance, constriction, whatever you might call it, and its interpretation, where does it stop you from going? In the sense that it is only if, again, if you had to get somewhere, that it could then have to change its composition, is it? So that it can clear your road a bit or something like that. But if you had to get nowhere, in fact, if I was to say to all of you, forget it, you can't get it. Maybe that is the secret, you know, okay? Is it? Then is that bad news or is it good news?
A little relief.
Huh?
Don't have to do anything.
It's like a relief at times. See, but sometimes it can be heard as bad news also. What I'm saying then is that the idea of getting is false. You see? And we can never use another representation and say, okay, this is how it happened for them, what about me? Because then we are caught up in so many stories. You see? So, is it possible to be empty of the idea of getting on? Because block only is related to the idea of getting. You see? Or trying to be a certain way, which is also getting. If there was nothing at all that needed to happen or had to come or had to go, then
I know what you're saying, but why is there a seeming resistance?
because you made it a knowing. You see, the minute you know it, in a way it is lost. You see? So don't even try to know these words. So they're doing something on their own, let them, or they're not, forget it. You see? So, you see? So don't have to worry about any of that. You see? The minute you make a knowing out of anything, you see, it can seem to obscure your vision, seem to. It is not in that process. You see, what would it mean when you say, okay, I know what you're saying? What would it mean?
Our memory, recollection
You have
of the state.
you have a phenomenal experience that you can tally with the concept of what you feel is being said. You see, and therefore you give that assertion, yes, valid, and you keep it in your toolbox of concept. That is knowing in the way it is usually operates in the mental way, isn't it? So suppose that truth had nothing to do with this process,
Yes.
then neither trying to understand, nor trying to not understand. Nothing to do with that process either way. You see? My master told me that if you know it, just messes it up. And it's never true anyway. Now try to suffer without knowing anything. Let everything come. You see, even if it is like a tsunami of resistance, let it come. Don't know it is even resistance. Be full open. Don't grasp. You see, don't grasp at it. Just remain open. You don't have to do anything with these words also. Like the sound of the wind chime. They're being heard. It's enough. It is because we have an idea of solution. You see, that's why all these problems seem real. It is because we have an idea of freedom that the notion of bondage seems like it is true. And all the but will be but me. You see? It might even sound very global, but actually all the but is but me. But me. Like a tantrum throwing child saying, take me also to the party, take me also to the party. That's all. You see? You see? That's all it is. All this, what we call resistance, is nothing but a little child saying, I also want to go to party. I'm having a major resistance. You see? But are you having it without the notion of me? See? And this me is just like a little child who's saying, what about me? What about me? Take me also. This is so unfair. Forget it.
As you were saying that I was trying to locate this me that's causing the story, and then the one who's actually looking is also causing.
Yeah. So don't have to do anything with these words. In a way, it is like consciousness reminding itself of itself. It doesn't need any personal intervention.
This stream of thought that's attempting to box some of the experiences that are flowing through.
Yeah.
Movements of body, speech,
Exactly.
my body.
That's what it does. It tries to label your experience, and it feels like in the label there is some truth to be found.
Like a confirmation had to be made.
Yeah.
That's it. See, this part to that part, that's the one.
Just a thought. It's okay. What is the difference between freedom and bondage? You know all the answers. I have to invent some fresh questions. But do you see it? That in actuality they are not things. It's not a thing. Freedom is not a thing. Bondage is not a thing. It doesn't exist. You can switch it off for a few minutes.
Getting caught seeming happens, and that's when everything seems real, journey seems real, everything seems real. But when you looked at there is, even without looking, like even before seeming catching up or something, it doesn't even need confirmation. So here it still feels like this catching up of these concepts, whichever.
Getting caught up, you mean?
Getting caught up.
Yeah.
The ones that catch now and don't know which will catch in the future. Somehow that needs to be resolved or something.
This is the thing. It's all notional, is it? No? This is it. Dig further and see something will, but this is my journey right now. This is my position, you see? It's my position. It's my existential issue.
It's true, it makes it like that. Like this needs to be.
Well, it in itself doesn't have the power to make anything like anything. You see? Your own being, your own presence is the only power there is. So what are you saying as being?
Maybe I just want to laugh.
Being knows want.
Doesn't even need resolution. Doesn't know like resolution or anything.
Now the need to conclude, just keep noticing it. That's all. Just keep noticing it. Nothing means anything, but you feel like, you see, that is a bad thing or something. You feel like I must come to meaning. Then we put one big meaning to it, which is that everything is meaningless. But that's not what I said. You see? It's because nothing means anything. Then where is the meaning, everything is meaningless coming from? Is it all Greek? Oh, it's okay. Huh? It's like some foreign language, which is also fine, but
this fictitious bondage
yes.
makes me feel like I'm an upstanding citizen, very responsible.
Is your bondage, is that what you
mean?
mean?
Play or let myself be free. Hold it in the chains and the shackles and the cage.
And so the bondage is fictitious. What about the me? Doesn't let me be free. Is that fictitious or
The
is it?
silent me. The talkative me is telling me all the rules.
So talkative me is fictitious?
So I've heard.
All this me is fictitious. Talkative me, silent me, if there is a true I, true me, then it doesn't need to, it in fact cannot be known through any notion of it. You see? So if you can label yourself this way or that way, then both ways are not you really. You see? So the notion of being a upstanding citizen you're not willing to throw away, is it? Any other, you can keep one if you like. Is this the only one?
Oh, well, all the things, thinking which comes with that, fitting into society and expectations.
How many
Other
sub-thoughts you need to be an upstanding citizen? Tell the truth.
Books and books.
Huh? Books.
So many. So many.
So many what?
Thinking, behaviors.
Yeah, upstanding citizen, tell the truth, don't litter the country. 3-4 sub rules. What is it?
Pay your taxes.
Pay your taxes, don't hurt anyone.
Yeah.
Ahimsa. Bas 4-5 sub thing.
Hurt anyone's feelings. So
Feelings.
they're fictitious feelings.
Feeling thing is tough because you could say blah 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 and feelings seem to get hurt. You see? You could just say blah 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 blue blue, but feelings are hurt. So
Say
if you
what you wanna hear.
keep no, then you can't because the audience is big. You see? You have relationships, you have various, so you can't keep saying, okay, now this one is there, let me say that, and now this one is here, let me say this. You see? So, in a way, if you're talking about that upstanding citizen thing, then just as long as your intent is not to hurt anyone's feeling, then you're fine. You see? Because then what emerges is used or what part it plays in the seeming satsang of others has nothing to do with you. We're still speaking in a very worldly, phenomenal way because we're using that context of upstanding citizen. So as long as you are not feeling to hurt anyone's feeling, it's really not such a big deal.
The freedom of the self may hurt people's feelings.
Well then, like many who come to satsang say, it is my suffering that got us here. Is it? So unless they suffer a bit, maybe they don't come to satsang. Is it? I know it can sound a bit cruel or something, but if we're going to have to micromanage every word and every expression in that way, you see, then how is it your freedom anyway? You see, the freedom of the self may hurt others' feeling, but if that freedom means you have to watch every word and expression that you make, it doesn't look very free. You see, where is the allowing in that? So the allowing also contains whatever emerges from here to emerge and whatever, be open to whatever responses or feelings come. You see, is the trouble that they feel that way, you see, or you don't want to bear the brunt of them feeling that way. You see? That can be explored a bit in the sense that is it that they feel a certain way, you see, or is it that because they feel a certain way then they behave like this with me. You see? So if that me still comes alive in that play, then we
You
look
want
at
to be the
it.
good me, good
Good.
person.
But good and bad is very made up, so nobody can actually do it. It's a big burden to carry, you see, trying to be good. You see? So freedom is just not trying any of this. You see, not trying to be anything at all. Like Guruji has these beautiful examples. I'm going to paraphrase a bit. So is a tree trying to be good? Is it? Is a bird trying to be good? A squirrel trying to be good? Is it? They're just what they are. Somebody said, oh, that tree is being very good today. What? Really? Like this? So we've put these notions onto our existence and sort of locked ourselves up in this. You see? And you can feel like there's no escape, because then if I'm free, then everybody gets upset with me. You see? Then, you see? Then don't even try to be free. You see? Because if free has also become a position, then that is not free. If you can be free or can be bound, then you're still in those opposites, you see. So don't try to be this way or that way. Just welcome whatever every moment brings. Just welcome whatever every moment brings. So somebody can, you're not saying welcome, not like that, but just you're open, inwardly open that this can happen, it's okay. You see? Not meant with the mantra of why me, or what's in it for me, without the me mantra. That is openness. And it is not that we are concerned about what anyone comes and says. If you are free, in your definition of free earlier, and you're walking on the road and there is one random stranger who looks at you this way, you see, it's not such a big deal. It's usually about what we call our close relationships and what they think and what they say. So now if you are getting rid of the tyranny of this seeming mind here, if it plays in other mouths, so to speak, then are we going to get into that new tyranny of being oppressed by that? It can't be this way. I'm not saying we have to be either lion or sheep, actually. I'm just saying that forget about either of these, and that this body will be taken care of, you don't worry.
A strong ego which wants to be good.
Yes. So, but as strong as it may be, it does not survive the now. You see? So we have to put the blocks back together again. You see? So it is gone now. Till you start thinking about it. Even if you start thinking about whether it's gone or not, then it seems to, you see, revitalize. Even if is it still there? You see? In a way, we have to get out of the web of all labels, all words. You see? Just don't know what good means, what bad means, because we've learned what it meant. It was not part of our innocence. We were taught.
You're saying that we have to get rid of all those labels, but we as what? Because you're saying that there is no me, there is no we. So how is it done?
Yeah, it is just remain in your notionless existence. You as consciousness, you see, remain in your notionless existence. That's the only way. That's not the only way, but the quickest way to remain in the unborn. You see? It is done. Now the notion of done and not done also gone. Now, like now. not the product of your thinking about it. You see? Right now. The mind does not represent reality. You see? It itself, allow me to say, you don't worry about it, is an aspect of reality itself. but it's not a true representative of reality. You see, so its representations are not real, and reality actually cannot be represented by the mind. So if you go to the mind and say, okay, mind, what do you think about that? You see, he is saying this now, that mind cannot represent reality. What do you think? Yeah, of course. I've heard this many times in satsang before. Is it like that? And then we buy, yes. You see, it's still claiming to represent reality. So don't go to any of this mental conceptualization for an answer to anything. Then it's like, I may ask the question, then I started noticing this comes out in satsang these days. Then, you see, and then if that is an invitation for you to go to the mind and say, okay, so then like that, that's not how it is meant. Don't go to that voice for any representation of reality. If you want to go to it and you say, okay, I have not suffered for a few moments, let me get some suffering back, and that's the game you want to play, that's what it is. That's what consciousness is doing in a way. Like, have you met these people who love spicy food? You see? Like, eat a pani puri or something, and then they just water, sugar, curd, this kind. Like, but why did you eat that spicy food? You see? It's not the first time. It's like you've been doing it over and over. You see? It's just fun, you see, or you see? So this is like when we say it is the joy of consciousness. It is also like that, you see. I really don't want to suffer. Okay, you're free. Okay, done. You see? But maybe I do a little bit. Okay, what you got for me? But he said like that, or she said to you like that. No, something. I don't want to suffer. Okay, you're done, free. Yeah? Okay. Yeah. That's all this game is. Is it? That's all this game is. And it's not personal. You see, this game is not personal. The so-called person is a product of the game. It's like a byproduct which doesn't really happen, but it seems to happen. You see? It's like in Monopoly you buy Park Place, you see? Or Boardwalk. There is no actual boardwalk, but you feel like you're the owner of it, no? You feel like I have this property or something. You see? It's not like that. In the same way, the idea of being a person is just a product of this game. You see? A person does not play it. This consciousness, if we have to use a term, consciousness that plays with this limitation and then dropping the limitation. You see? Why? You cannot really say, but if you want an answer for its play. So, really the question boils down to who, isn't it? Who is here? Can that be described in any concept? You see? And if itself cannot be described in any concept, then how can its afflictions, problems, its version, its stories be described in concepts? It's like saying the storybook started. Once there was a I don't know who, Yeah? Once there was a I don't know who, you see, but he, she had this particular problem in their relationship. You see, what does it even mean? You see? So this, because this fundamental, we have just presumed, we filled in that box with me. Once there was a me. You see? Then once that is there, then that one can have problem, relationship, money, body, freedom, all these problems. You see? But if you don't fill in that box, this is what Bhagavan was trying to say. This is a contemporary version of what he was trying to say. He say, till I am it is okay. But then when that I am becomes something, you see, I am something is what we call me. You see? So once you fill in that blank of I am this, me, you see, then is the root of all trouble. You see? But who is at the center of the story? So when I ask you who is there, you see, then if you don't know, then why you fill in that blank with me?
It's impressions formed for a very long time.
Yeah, but whose impressions?
Formed on the consciousness.
Yeah, but there is no consciousness.
I'm not happy with your answer.
Who is not? You see, why I said that? Because I know I affirmed consciousness, I was affirming for the last 10 minutes. When this is what happens in Satsang, we can make it a term, and then that term can become like the home for the me. You see? It is happening to me as consciousness. Okay, forget there's no consciousness. Now, you see? So, this is a good example of how even satsang terminology can actually just get in our way. Because we feel then immediately, I know who it is happening to, it is consciousness. You see? You see? Forget it, there is no consciousness. And why are you not happy with the answer? Because something latched on to the term. You see, I know that you were saying jokingly also, half jokingly, but, but because that term consciousness you got attached to, you see, and then forget, there is no consciousness. But that's the basis of my understanding now. You see, consciousness is the basis of my understanding now, and he's saying forget about it. You see, now what I'm saying more than even these terms like consciousness or awareness is that our reality cannot be grasped in any concept, including these. You see? So when a question is asked, it has to come, the response has to come from a more alive place than what we know. You see? It has to come from a more alive place than just what we just learned, even if it seems so fresh because I just understood this. You see? It can feel like that. But even more alive than that, more immediate, you see? Yeah.
When you say you got attached to,
Yeah, you as consciousness, of course.
there is no consciousness.
Yeah. There is no consciousness. This is how terms become potent, you see? I wish that for every time I would say something, I would use a fresh term. You see? Like if I said consciousness once, if I didn't ever say it again, that would be better. Because otherwise you build a home for the me in that term consciousness. See? This is what happens in spirituality. So who is it happening to? Consciousness, you see, but not like that. It has to be like, who is it happening to?
As you describe it, it seems like when you say consciousness, right, or any word, you draw on some experience for you to make it real, for that word to seemingly have a realness to it.
Yeah, it's what
You're referring.
yes, what experience or sets of experiences that you've tagged along with that label. That's why these labels are so potent, because they don't come as just like, oh, consciousness. Because everything that we think we know about consciousness is loaded into that term. You see, like he gave me a USB drive. So term is like that. There's so much loaded into that term already. You see? So you're saying consciousness, you say consciousness, you say consciousness. Now you ask to describe. You see, everybody will describe different things, because that's how you loaded the term. You see, and then we argue about, no, my term is the best one, or you see, how could you use that term in that way? You see? As if the term itself, like a set of sounds, can inherently have some meaning. You see, blah 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 blah. You see, in another language, if that means something, and you say it's all gibberish, gibberish. You see,
So I never get this part. So
it's like,
no. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean that, like, when you say that just the sound doesn't
Yeah.
have any intrinsic meaning
Yeah.
within it, right?
Yeah.
So
no
what is-
no intrinsic concept is loaded within it.
yeah, just in the
Yeah.
sound, like
Yes.
the blah blah. There's
Yes.
nothing. I mean,
Yes.
if I never heard it, I would never know it. So where are you pointing us to? That's what I don't get. Like, basically, I mean, it's quite obvious.
Yeah.
If I don't know a language,
Yes.
whatever, or if I had
Good
never
question.
met anybody, if I was the only human being in this world, there would be no meaning of. I would have to invent something for myself,
Yeah. Yeah.
just to remind myself maybe of something. I'm just imagining now.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
good question. So meaning is what? A set of other terms.
Yeah.
You see? Each of those set of other terms.
Are
Each
they
of
not
those
based on
set-
some experience, Father?
Yeah, but those labels never actually, we looked at this so often that if you were to describe the experience of this room,
Yeah.
you see, could you actually do it? You see? At best you try to, it's like a pictorial representation at best if you use like
Yeah.
10,000 words or something like that.
Yeah.
You see? So it doesn't really describe anything, you see, in isness. Never describes even the manifest aspect of what is. You see? So that just leads to other terms, then those lead to other terms, those lead to other terms. So if you were to be rid of all of these terms, see, then Bhagavan said that the root of all of this trouble is the one term, which is I, the I thought. You see, we have given that meaning. So if you take all meaning or reference out of that one, then all of this other stuff is naturally gone. You see, that's a very good shortcut, cheat code. You see. Don't have to deal with individual meanings of all of these terms. I am this, I am that, in my world it is like this. All this is the meaning that we've given, right? So what is the fundamental term? The fundamental term is I, whatever language you might use, whatever you're using for I. You see? So this I, we have given it conceptual meaning, whereas reality cannot be captured in any conceptual meaning that you give to it. Whether you say awareness, Brahman, absolute, or you say person, ego, you see, mind, you see, both do not actually represent reality. You see? So now don't refer to I as anything. Don't give it any meaning or reference. Finished?
These animals, birds, they are not worried about meaning.
Exactly.
They simply
There is no meaning. Me is created in meaning. Me is created in meaning. Now, what you have to be open to hearing also, because I repeat it often, but sometimes the mind gets, very loud at this point. You see, is that the opposite meaning is not true also. So don't get boxed into the idea of meaninglessness. You see, or the idea of nothing has meaning, because that is also to give it meaning. You see, it's just that it does not apply. You see, he had made, one time he used to talk about not applicable. What did he mean? He had made some pictorial representation, something. So just like that, it's not applicable. Meaning itself, the term is meaningless. You see, so therefore meaning and meaninglessness don't mean anything. You see, get out of that box. You see, otherwise you will get into stay with these boxes of, oh, only awareness has meaning. You see, person has no meaning. This kind of, we are not replacing one set of meaning with a new set of meaning. We are not replacing the notion I am a person with a new notion I am Brahman or I am God. You see? Because we don't want to have one kind of ego then replace with spiritual ego or something. You see? That's really frying pan into fire. So it is just to remain empty from all of this, all judgment, interpretation, of empty of getting, losing, finding, seeking, holding, wanting, empty of all of this. In a simple way, we can say that it's the end of wordplay. We've just been playing with words, thinking that that is our reality. But now, as Guruji says, we're coming to a wordless spirituality. So then it will not trouble you. If I say, you are consciousness, and then say, but there is no consciousness, you don't be like, wow, like that, because you are out of that box, you see. You are not boxing yourself based on these assertions and negations, these opposites. You see? Otherwise, this game of, oh, I am person or I am awareness will keep going on because we made them opposites in that box. Just keep all terms aside, and whatever you are is apparent. Is apparent. I'm a bit sheepish in saying that because what is apparent? What are you without this box? You see? Now, you'll notice that the mind will also become very smart at playing that game. You see? And say, oh, but within and without are still opposites in that box. You see? But you're not really looking still. You're still in that word play then. You see? So, all words are in that box. That is clear. If that gives the mind some smartness certificate, every mind can have it. It's completely, fully smart. Okay? You see? So that full certification is yours. Now that you have seen that even this question is in the box, what is it that you are without the box? You see? Because you then settle for, then again these like smart conclusion. Yeah. Oh, but even that within, without is in the box only. You see, like that. But even that is in the box. What about you? Can you be represented in the box? You see? In this classroom, the worse your answer is, the better it is. And if you have like just no answer, best. You see? But it can't be that outwardly I have no answer, but inwardly we are like, yeah.
There is an answer.
Yeah.
Like, I am what I am. Like, whatever the box says. Like, if I'm really outside the box, then I'm what I am.
I am?
What I am.
What it means, I am what I am?
Whatever I am. It's just that. Whether like
Hey, but the question is, what are you?
Whatever I am.
That's not the answer. Like so, but it's you are able to see it's not an answer. You see? It's just like, what are you? I am whatever I am. Little like that. You see? But what is it actually describing? or explaining?
I guess like it has no explanations, and that's why like it is coming up with this kind of answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Good. So that's good. You see that. So this answer also gone, but then, like we were saying, that if the basis is the I thought, or is the central character in the story, you see, is like once there was I don't know who, you see, then there's not much that can be added onto the story. But if we're still adding that once that I don't know who was having this problem, you see, then this kind of thing, you see, then it's good to check. So who is this? You see, before we can say anything about that one, you see, it's good to check. So who is it? You see. So if the mind is saying that that is whoever it is, for example, you see, but this is real, you see, look at that. You see? It will try to always do that. It will always try to move you to another question like why, when, what, you see? But move you away from the who question. It's like ignore that. That is whatever it is. Or what did you say? Whatever I am. I am whatever I am. Now let's talk on top of that. You see? For the mind, it wants to deal in that way. You see? But here, you have to just like this. Whatever I am. What is that? You see? Just like what is that? You see? Because if you're building this whole house on top of that foundation, this happened to me, then that happened to me, then will it happen to me? Why doesn't it happen? Or why will all this is on top of that me? Then it's good to explore that and see what is at the center of the story. Who is the central protagonist of this tale? What's the point of asking that? This, if you talk to the so-called lay people, what is satsang about? First, I used to try and explain that it's about self-inquiry, coming to the recognition of life. What do you get after that? You see? And if if they're being nice, they're saying, "Oh, will you find peace in that?" You see? And to try and explain to them that no, truth is worth it for the sake of truth itself. It's impossible. It's like very, very strange conversation. You see? No, I'm not doing it for something because it's worth it to just check. You see? Is the basis of everything on top of the story is based on that. So would it not be worthwhile to check that? But this, which seems the most straightforward for the world, seems like the most crazy. You spend your time just looking at who you are. So who are you? And then many times the mind also makes a version of that, which this kind of question comes. Like one friend, she came the other day also. She's like, but isn't that so selfish? You're just thinking about yourself. You see, because they feel like they have a sense of who that self is. You see? So you're thinking about yourself in this way. But what about those poor children who need to be helped, and the world which is undergoing so much suffering? You see? And so then if you ask them, so how to rid one of their suffering? It's a good intention. So you want to rid the world of their suffering instead of thinking about yourself, which is their version of what you're doing. So how to rid the world of their suffering? Is it by giving them material things? Is it by giving them nice thoughts and concepts? Do those things last as the end of suffering for anyone in the world? And are we free first from our suffering that we can present this end of suffering to others?
That's what masters say. First, you become without suffering, then only you can help
Exactly.
others.
So, but I can understand that perspective, because not looking at this from this perspective, it can seem strange. What are these guys doing? They sit, 10 of them, 10, 15 of them every day. They're sitting and just talking about who am I. You see, so self-centered. You see, why don't you go help the world? Like this kind of thing. It's very understandable from a certain perspective. You see, but then you see, when you start looking and saying, okay, how to rid another of their suffering? If I give 10,000 rupees to one poor person, Do I really know it's going to be the end of their suffering, or maybe it may add to their suffering? You see? They might buy some drugs, or they might not even that, but they might then some other concept about life might get created for them, which can bring them more suffering. You see? We don't even know the outcomes of these things. You see? So even when we are doing charity, so-called charity in the world, we must always do it from a place of humility, not from this place of, oh, I am helping you, or, you know, because we don't really know any of that. We just have to bow our head down and say, may Guruji's grace take care of whatever this is, you see. If we put these presumptions into saying, this is how I am helping the world, or this is how I am changing this thing, you see, this kind of thing. But if the complaint is that what are you doing to help the world be rid of its suffering, I have to also say that in this case the end of suffering came as a result of, you know, dropping the delusion of the false me, you see. So that is what is playing out. That is what is playing out to help everyone see that this me is a made up idea. I can think of no better way to help the world even. Not that I'm doing it with that intent or something like that. Yeah, it's not like that. So, not picking up the lies about who you are is all that is needed. I'm not even saying dropping. I'm saying not picking up the lies about who you are, and then all terms that describe who you are lies. Whether they're pointing to something spatial or temporal or even so-called eternal. Everything that is terminology cannot describe you in reality. This much is the end of the I thought. Don't pick up any lies about who you are. And all terms about who you are lie. All descriptions, all interpretations, all judgments are lies. Even this one, that they are lies, is lies. You see what I'm saying, in the sense that I'm not just playing with words there, but proposing and then getting rid of the proposition also. You see? Because if, again, I'll propose the term emptiness. You see? Because if you have to come to this emptiness, it cannot be like everything is lies. You see? That is not emptiness. You see? So, like a negation of everything else using a provisional truth, and then the negation of the provisional truth itself, so that your hands are left empty.
That's what you read yesterday.
Also, yeah, exactly. That's what all the sages are doing. You see? Adhyaropa apavadana, that's what they call it. Like saying, don't believe any lies about yourself. Everything, all terms are lies, and then there are no such thing as lies. It's sequential in a way. If you feel you can assert the truth, know that it is not the truth. If you feel like you can deny the truth, know that it is not the truth. You see? That includes all of this which is being said in Satsang.
Because it will always be a concept that
Yes.
gets asserted.
Yeah, exactly. Because you cannot assert. You see?
The only thing true are the pointings.
Huh?
Pointings are the truth.
Provisionally, that's what I was saying. Provisionally. You see? So you say all of this is unreal because it comes and goes. You see? Then it takes away our investment in the reality of this manifest. You see? Then you say Brahman is the world. You see? What does it mean? You see? So there is no world, there is only Brahman, for example. And then you say Brahman is the world. So it doesn't let you hang on to anything conceptually, because if you try to put it in a conceptual box, you can just feel that. And many actually can claim that I have understood this. It is not for that. If you have understood this, then the sage has to come up with something else. You feel like these are riddles that I have to crack. Now I have understood. You see? And he'll say, I come up with some fresh stuff. At this box, you might feel like it's just a mental box, a small aspect. You see? But then you'll see that everything that we think about this world is contained in that. Time is contained in your box. Space is contained in your box. You see? Freedom, bondage, life, death. You see? Everything is contained in this box. None of these are a thing. Okay? Achha. For next time we have a note. Would be nice if everyone could speak a little louder or come closer to the mic or something. If your complaint is that I'm not understanding anything, like sometimes many of you complain like that I'm not understanding anything. That is actually music to my ears, you see. But then you get very upset if I say that. So that in fact, I want to say, what you think you understand, also throw it away. You see, what you think you understand, also throw it away, because that is not helping anything. So, you see. Now, let me not say after. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadguru Shri Muji Baba ki Jai.
Sadguru Shri Ananta Ji ki Jai.
Guru Kripa Kevalam.